Hi, and welcome to the Thinking Out Loud podcast, a show with meaningful conversations in English with non native speakers like myself, Jendrik.
And myself, Masha.
And we are two English teachers who,
Um,
that would be good.
want to change the world? Do you want to
Yes,
change the world?
you're damn right. Yes, you're damn right. Now you have actually hit the bullseye with that, Of course,
Finally,
I want to change the world.
after 100 and
Five
episodes.
episodes. No, but of course, it's such a wide concept that everybody can subscribe to it, right? Because what does it mean to change the world? Would you like to design a technology that would actually change the world? Or would you rather
You know, I don't believe in
go back to
technology.
what was before?
Of course, yeah, to the caves.
To the caves, yes, good old caves.
Good old caves.
The thing, I mean, you hit the spot with that comment, with that reflection, because I'm kind of mm, realizing that everything, and I mean everything, is business. It's like, I let me explain, but of course, it's very, 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 very vast. But I was listening to um, a podcast. It was actually taking place, because there was a panel discussion with the top Polish podcasters and YouTubers, which, by the way, is pretty much the same, right? If you're a YouTuber, you're very often a podcaster too, and vice versa, like us. Are we YouTubers, honestly? I don't feel like
No.
one. No, but anyway, but and I don't know if that is the case of Ukraine as well and other countries. I'm not so sure about France, but the Polish media landscape has changed a lot lately. A lot of journalists who used to work for the state media, for some major newspapers, and so on. So like these traditional media, they basically moved online. They moved and they started their own YouTube channels, their own podcasts, their own well, one of these two, right? And from the discussion, I learned that that was, of course, a great move in terms of their, let's say, liberty, because now they can do what they, let's say, always wanted. But first and foremost, it was a great move financially. That now, they are much better off. They and each one of them said one thing, repeated the same thing. Now we don't have time for anything. It's just the podcast, 24/7, because now, we don't have a crew. It's just us doing the montage, doing, a lot of stuff, calling, of course, the guests and inviting them. It's like a factory, right? Because
Mhm.
before you had lots of people, a team behind, let's say, a TV program or a
Mhm.
radio program that they were inviting, they were, scheduling stuff and so on. Now they do it themselves, and they basically have no time whatsoever to do anything, no private time. Of course, they declare it. I don't know if, that is what is truly taking, but I believe, yes, you can imagine, our podcast is super easy to produce.
Yeah,
There
but
is
I
not
think they're
much.
not so well off because, I mean, I'm sure Joe Rogan has a crew that does
Hmm.
a lot of work.
Hmm.
So if they,
Yeah, you're right. You're right. You're right. Because this is only a budding enterprise. Like,
Mhm.
there is one successful Polish journalist I know of, who I think is doing pretty well.
Mhm.
I mean, the podcast is super popular. He's got a crew. It's not like, he's doing everything.
Sitting
Uh,
in the toilet doing everything
E-
himself.
Exactly, exactly. But but he was sort of the first one, the trailblazer. So now he's sort of, settled. But a lot of journalists fed up with traditional media, and I can understand that,
Mhm.
move on their own, use YouTube and so on. But the point is that all these great because they are really good programs in terms of I don't even know what, some kind of freshness. It feels like wow, it's really close to me. You've got a direct contact, almost like, and you like, for example, this journalist or that. But at the same time, they do it all for money. All these geopolitical conversations, these big discussions, these great ideas, that they talk about. This is for money. And if you
You
think about,
also
because they are part of the
for
system.
money. I'm sorry.
You mean me and this podcast?
And your work.
Well, yes,
You're
but
having these wonderful, intimate, fantastic, powerful, meaningful conversations, but you get money for it as well. There's nothing wrong with that.
I mean, but I'm not recording my lessons and I'm not posting them online,
Well, you do with this podcast. The fact that we don't make any money
it's
hasn't,
it
I mean,
absolves us.
doesn't, yeah. Okay.
Yeah, but and of course, Masha, and if you
You
ask
sound
me,
like John Lennon. I'm sorry.
yeah, but well, you asked me about changing the world, right? So let me play,
Okay, I
let
still
me put the
can't
hat
get your
of.
point. Okay, make your
So
point.
my point. My point is that we, as humanity, I guess, at large, we are being put through some kind of a draconian system that turns everything into a product, turns everything into, even your passion, like be it journalism or interviewing people and so on. It is being monetized, and they talk about increasing their reach, reaching to new audiences and so on. So you have to adapt or incorporate certain elements into whatever your routine, so that it appeals to people who normally wouldn't listen to you and so on. It's all like being a slave of an algorithm, especially when you talk about YouTubers. But I guess Spotify is pretty much the same, except Spotify doesn't. It's not so easy to monetize your stuff on Spotify, right? But
So
with
you're saying you
YouTube,
can't be authentic and make money?
well, that's a good question. That's a good question, because are they being? Yeah, they are being authentic, but at the same time, they are doing it for money, and this is somehow a major motivator. I know that. Yeah, I guess so. I guess so. So they are not artists, right? They are only artists, and
So
a
an
tiny
artist
fraction of
must be
them
poor.
can afford. No, they can afford doing something non-commercial, right? Something that will simply be put out there, and whatever happens, it happens. If someone wants to buy it for 1 million bucks, fine. If not, it's also fine. But this sort of approach is gone. I mean, I don't know if it has ever been out there, but I don't know. I don't know what to think about it. This kind of working 24/7. Posting stuff. I was for a moment. I wanted to say posting shit. Online, because if you really post like some of them every day or every second day, because the algorithm needs content, it feeds on that. So you are a slave of that. if
I
you
know
if you
what it
stop
means
posting.
when I write a newsletter every time. I feel like that.
But I'm thinking that if you ask me to if we are trying to change the world, yeah, if there's any way to get out from that machine, that system, and somehow be happy, fulfilled, and not dying of hunger. So here we are, John Lennon speaking. So
with
let's introduce
Yoko.
the communist system.
Ah, the communist system. Okay, that's the answer.
Yeah, no, we've been there and done that, So
But yeah, that's what people say. We've been there, done that. But if you think about all communist countries, they were um, uh, dictatorships. We never
yeah,
had this combination. So,
of course,
but
and the
does it
system was a complete
necessarily?
failure.
Yeah, but does it necessarily mean that there is no democratic, but at the same time democratic? I don't know, communism. I don't know what to call it.
They always claim to be democratic, I
Yeah,
mean,
they will.
this
I
is a
mean,
democratic
truly,
republic of North Korea,
no.
or Cuba,
This combination is simply not possible.
It's a very good question. I think it's not. Why is it not? Because since communism is centrally planned and centrally governed, then I'm sure that a system like democracy does not want central planning by definition. Because if there is a central, if there is if there is someone who governs, democracy is all about changing that someone every now and then. And unless there were only communist parties in the system, no capitalist parties, just communist parties, but differing, in their worldview. Well, maybe you could vote and you replace one type of communists with another type of communists, but I don't know. I don't know if that is uh, even possible. So once you allow, let's say, capitalism, if we are speaking about two systems, then capitalism doesn't want to go out, I guess. I mean, it's very hard. I mean, unless, of course, capitalism grows into this crony capitalism that I guess we are experiencing right now, so that everything looks like, yeah, you've got choice, but you don't really. So yeah, but this there is this kind of feeling that there is this powerful machine, and you have to sell stuff, and whatever you do, every breath you take is for sale. I'm not. I mean, I don't know. If I could change one thing, I would just say one big uh relax to people. Just relax. Loosen your uh you know what. So basically that's it. I've got a feeling that much as I like certain discussions that I listen to, some podcasts and so on, but we can't forget that they all do it for money. All these CNNs and BBCs and others, they inform you, fine, but they do it for money. And doesn't that actually skew the facts? I mean, it has to, right?
You want the money to be some kind of a byproduct?
Oh yeah, that is, of course, it's I don't, but there's a fine line between uh earning a living and greed, and getting greedy and wanting to earn more, because you never know where is that, where is that level when I say, okay, fine, I'm fine, I don't need to shoot another video, or I don't know, I don't need to create another product, um, because I'm kind of satisfied with what I've got. This is human nature, right? We want more and more. So given a chance, you just grab it.
I don't know what to say. On the one
All
hand,
right. No,
yeah,
no.
it's kind of true.
What
It's
was?
kind of true, but it's like, when you when you say that, money can't buy you happiness. Well,
Mhm,
only people who had a lot of money or have understand
mhm.
this. If you say this to a poor person, he will never understand you.
Yeah, yeah,
So
of
it's
course,
like
and
you're telling me that everything is about making money, and since we are not making any money, I kind of
And what is even more, if we were given an opportunity to make money, we would probably jump on it, you know? Like, okay, you know, you want to sponsor us or you want to, I don't know, be our patron or I don't know about, you know, because another thing is that when I think about these podcasters from the media sphere, you know, they all claim to be independent. Like, you know, before they weren't so free to say what they really think or so on, because there was always some kind of a supervisor, you know, somewhere out there, you know,
Mhm.
controlling what is being said and so on. Right now, they actually gained the true freedom of speech, you know, which is
I'm not
valuable,
sure
of
if it's
course.
such because right now they depend on they are dependent, but it's a
Hmm.
different dependency because now algorithms tell them what to
Yeah,
say, not
yeah,
not the
exactly,
boss.
exactly, exactly. But until the algorithms become as good as human censorship, they can, you know, avoid certain things. You know, they can maneuver because algorithms are just, you know, they are just blind, right? I mean, they hear a word even if it's let's say a bad word taken out of context, but you know, okay, there's the word, we censor that, you know, you're quite blind. But
Hmm.
with the AI coming, you know, they won't be blind forever. So yeah, it's
Hmm.
quite interesting. But Masha, what is it, why did you actually say that that we want to change the world? You had something completely else on your mind, probably
No,
something smaller, of smaller caliber maybe.
no, that's the first thing that comes to mind when I think of you.
Ah, when you think of me,
Yeah,
all right.
yeah,
I think I still have that.
like Don Quixote, you know.
mm, yeah, that power, I don't
I
know, this
hate to,
kind of force,
which
you know.
makes me kind of a Sancho Panza, but I don't like that.
You know, I still have in me that kind of fuel, you know, that kind of, you know,
Amazingly, yes.
hunger, that kind of hunger and crazy idealism that I don't
Hmm.
know where does it come from, because um yeah, I remember my days at the university, you know. Oh, sorry, it was actually I was already graduate, but I was invited to a meeting with some students of the Warsaw School of Economics. There was a meeting with startuppers or young entrepreneurs. And I counted as the second one. You know, I was a young entrepreneur because I have just opened my school. I had a business, you know, in Warsaw. It was a school, right? But since I was a graduate of the Warsaw School of Economics, so they invited me, and I came. And I remember that the two guys who were speaking before me, they were running some startups, you know, and these startups were basically copies of some ideas from across the ocean, you know. So basically, there was, you know, a startup. You know, this famous idea of, you know, you've got a small flat, so why don't you rent, you know, some kind of a storage space somewhere in a warehouse outside the city. But you know, if you press a button on your app, the items you need will be delivered within 1 hour or something like that. You know, so you know, this is a typical capitalist solution to a capitalist problem, right? You've got, you know, high prices of apartments, so you buy, you know, a 50 square meter flat, but you can't put all the stuff there, so you just rent some space, and that stuff is, you know, in a cloud, as if, you know, and it's, you know, being delivered to you from somewhere you don't even know where it is. But so that was one idea. Another idea
Hmm.
was also some sort of a concept that I can't remember now really, but again, it was like a carbon copy of some kind of a startup idea. Someone was, you know, investing money in it and so on. And then at the end, it was me, you know, a teacher of English speaking, and I just told these young people there that, you know, you shouldn't be copying the ideas, you know, from other people. And you are clever people because, you know, you are the students of a prestigious university, so You should come up with your own ideas, and you should first, start from that idea of changing the world. I want to change the world. I want to have an impact. But, by providing stuff from the storage room or from, from the basement to people, I don't know if you are actually changing the world. Where you're just adapting, you're just using, some kind of, opportunity, of course.
To make money.
And yeah, I'm pretty sure it can be profitable, and probably is in many cases, because the facts are that yes, people live in small, cramped flats. They don't have storage room for everything they own, and they own more and more stuff, all these, treadmills and you know, the stuff that you buy over time. And so, fine, that is an opportunity. You can monetize it, right? But my message was that you should basically change the world, and I was also speaking a bit about my school and my approach and so on, and that I don't follow what others are doing. I don't care what other language schools are doing. I'm doing my thing, and I'm going my way. And uh, guess what? The applause I received after that speech, was absolutely the biggest, of that evening. So I don't know if there were some whistles as well, but young people wanted to hear that, because if you're a student of a business school or a school of economics, then you are under a tremendous pressure, that you should get rich and fast, and startups were back then, the thing, everybody was doing startups and so on, and the things that I said were kind of like, I don't know if I'm going to get rich or not, probably not, but
Fast forward
but
20 years
at
later.
least, yeah, yeah, fast forward 20 years later, and I'm wearing rugs and still in the same place, and the guy from that storage business is probably buying another Porsche. But well, you know money aside, that
But
was the that
it's
was the
all
approach.
about the money.
What is all about money? What's all
Well,
about money?
wait till your kids are at the age when you have to send them, put them through college.
Yeah, yeah, you're right. You're right. You're right. Then I think is the time. That's why I can still afford maybe this kind of stupid idealism, right? I mean, stupid. It's not stupid, but it's stupid when you've got kids that go to college or you want to put them through the college, right? Especially if that is an expensive institution. So yeah, yeah, for sure,
So
for
that they
sure.
can get
This
good
is
education and get rich.
yeah, exactly. Why do you need that good education, to get rich? That is part of the system, Masha. That today people choose university, people choose go and invest in higher education with that goal on their mind, to get rich. So they go to business schools, they go to other popular institutions, that offer education, and that education is supposed to be practical and easy to monetize, so that you can go and work for Goldman Sachs afterwards.
I have two sons, and both of them have this one idea. They want to get rich.
All right.
Only one of them just wants to get rich. He only thinks about the money. The other one, he kind of wants to change the world, but he really wants to change the world. But
Mhm.
at the same time, he wants to be, this ridiculously rich. And I'm
Mhm.
trying as a good parent, because I think it's a kind of my job to explain it to them that money can't make you happy. Mm. And and they beat me every time, every single time. And
It's
the
very hard
last
to
time,
argue
and the
with
last
with
time I think it was something like, imagine this what one of them told me. Imagine tomorrow you discover that I have cancer and you are so poor You cannot afford the treatment, and I'm just gonna die just because you cannot make money, because you are an idealist and you want to change the world. What
But
can
it's not
you
like
say to that?
well,
Okay, help
it's
me
not it's
out.
very hard it's very hard to argue
Mhm.
with the argument of money, of course, and especially in the current age where money is an indicator of success, and it's sort of like an it's this is how we measure success. You're successful because you're rich, you're successful. But it's not like idealists are poor. I would say maybe even the other way around, because you might be working as a teacher or as a nurse or have any other decent profession, important profession, and be poor, simply, barely make ends meet. How do you expect a postman to get a child through college? I mean, it's impossible with that salaries, and it doesn't matter where you live, in Ukraine, in Poland, or
You
in
said
France.
that idealists are not necessarily poor. Give me an
I
example of
not
one
necessarily.
rich idealist.
Is it Elon Musk? Is that guy
Idealist?
an idealist?
Really?
I don't know. Well, he has some kind of, he has some sort of ideas like, conquering the space or
Okay, it depends what you call it an idealist. Like,
mhm,
my son also wants to, take people to a
go to
different
Mars.
planet. But he understands that it requires a lot of money and he wants to get rich to realize this
Yeah, I mean,
idealistic or whatever you prefer to call it
yeah,
ideal.
everything depends on your ideals, right? Because, your ideal may be to teach the children from your area, right? And, I don't know, to give them some sort of knowledge, some sort of education, values, and so on, right? This is equally idealistic to I don't know, colonizing Mars. I mean, there are various levels of idealism. If we think about these, big capitalists like Musk, like Gates, like Bezos,
Yeah, but
these
it
guys
doesn't
have
make any
totally different
difference at the end of the
goals.
day what kind of idealistic idea you have. If you want to teach poor kids in your neighborhood, yes, but you have your own kids to feed and you have to bring food on the table and you
Mhm.
have to buy them clothes and give them good education. So for this, okay, you have your little idealistic project, go ahead and do that, but then find a way to make money.
Yeah, yeah. So you have to fit into the system, right? You have to play the game. You have
What
to
system are you
sell.
talking about? Okay, let's go back. Let's go
Uh,
back, I don't know, 1 million or whatever, 2,000 years ago when there was no capitalism.
when there was no system, when there was no
Those,
system.
yeah, I'm trying to find a, good period where there is no system you're talking about. Because
I mean,
everybody likes so much, to talk about systems, the matrix,
basically, Masha, I think it comes down to the fact that these days we cannot be independent. So, the level of interconnectedness between people and the level of, it comes down to the division of labor. Before, you were baking your bread, you were sowing in the field, you were, snatching the crops, you were doing everything, right? And there was some rhythm to it. Well, it was a poor life, but, it was what it was, and of course the taxes were, I imagine, pretty low. The king wanted sometimes a war, okay, so you had to give something to the coffer, but generally, I think, we were pretty independent. Like we lived in families, right? And the more children you had, okay, the more hands to work you had, and so on. These days, we are in a network. We are totally dependent on others when it comes to food, when it comes to clothes, when it comes to everything, absolutely everything. And how do you become part of that? Well, you sell your services that are useful for others, right? So, I teach your children, and you make my shoes, and so on. But it went so far that right now we are selling, honestly, food delivery, right? Or I don't know, some kind of stuff that you could go and fetch, but you outsource it. So this is the kind of system where it went. It went so far that you are renting the next room in your flat just to, you know, just to make money, and basically uh, nothing, including intimacy, is untouchable these days. It is all part of the system. It's part of it could be monetized, could be outsourced, could be used. That's what it is. That is the system. And I think it's about that interconnectedness that is connected with the division of labor, and that's it.
I
So we
still
went
don't
pretty
see
far
what you
into it.
mean by independent. Yes, I could grow my own food,
Hmm.
even sometimes make my own clothes. But for
Hmm.
this, yes, I had to have a huge family. Everybody was doing what they could, and it required all my time.
Yeah,
Right
yeah,
now,
yeah. That is the price of progress, of course.
I don't see much difference with, like, I don't have a daughter who can do the washing. I have a washing machine. I
Yeah,
have a
yeah, of
vacuum
course.
cleaner, and I don't see how it makes me dependent.
Well, that electricity, right? I mean, it's not easy to see because it's not like there are people doing particular activities, or even if there are, you can't see them because it's simply being done. Someone is producing that washing powder, right? Or someone is producing these pencils, I'm using, and so on. But the
You mean
thing
if
is
they
that
all one day quit and the power plant will be destroyed by, I don't know, the Russians more likely, I will be what left uh, without anything?
yeah, I mean, we would really find ourselves in quite a predicament. I mean, um, I know. I just want to say that the system gets more. I mean, it evolves, right? It evolves, and what it comes down to is that it atomizes everything, every activity, every hour of your day. And it basically chunks these parts of your life and makes them available for sale.
What do
I
you mean
think
by
that
that?
I mean that you sell your time. For example, you're a teacher, and then you're an Uber driver, and then you are, I don't know, some kind of another profession, and you can basically um, and then again, like I said, you sell your flat, right? I mean, not like you're selling your flat,
But
but you're
but
renting a room, or
1,000 years ago, I had to be also many, many things. I had to be the
sure.
cleaner, I had to be the cook, I had to be then go and become an agrarian because I had to grow my food. I had to become a tailor because I had to make my
But
own
the point
clothes.
is that, yeah,
Uh,
yeah, the point is that in thousands of years ago, you had to be multifunctional. These days,
mhm.
you can just have one function, right?
So
I
how
hope
my
I
day
don't.
is now then broken into chunks. If I
It is
from
broken,
the
but
morning
it is.
into the evening, I'm the teacher.
Yeah, yeah, all right. Yeah, right. It's kind of tricky, because the overall direction is that we are in fact getting specialized, in one thing. I know that
Hmm.
there are certain activities that you can perform day and night, like during the day you teach, during the night you drive or something. But yeah, we generally specialize, and we become just one element, one cog in that huge machine, I guess.
I'm not getting your point. I'm
All
sorry,
right.
you're so
No, it's not,
obsessed with
Masha.
this machine.
Honestly, it's not easy. Honestly, it's not easy.
Yeah.
It's not easy to explain because I'm also going through that territory for the first time in my life. Like
Hmm.
now, when you ask me, right? I mean, I had certain thoughts. Maybe I'm voicing them right now. I'm listening to
Hmm.
myself, and I'm also checking. Am I even making sense?
Hmm.
This is the power. This is the beauty of natural conversation. That you may say something during the conversation and even stick to it, and defend it fiercely. But then you have some second thoughts. Really, am I? Doesn't even make sense, But there is pride. There is, there's a lot of emotions. There are lots of qualities that prevent us from admitting that, okay, I got myself into some kind of a dead end street, and
I used to
I'm
be
not, I'm
like
not.
that, but now I find it so liberating when I'm able to change my mind because somebody, well, I don't know what convinced me or something like
Yeah,
this.
and that's
It's
great.
so
Yeah, it's,
great.
I know this.
I
Yeah,
love
it's
these
great.
moments.
Yeah, I'm, and at the
But for
same
this, you
time,
need to
I'm.
truly listen to people, truly listen
Yeah,
for this to
yeah, yeah.
happen.
But when you are the speaker, you also listen to yourself,
Yeah, yeah.
and you also somehow, filter that,
Hmm.
and yeah. So what I've just said, I don't want to say that, because like I said, this is an unknown territory to me, and I'm just, a small guy who is not even,
Cog in the machine,
prepared. Yes, because I'm
the
prepared,
system.
to discuss the system, and so on. But
Hmm.
it's something that you feel. You feel that, you think that the entertainment you are watching, or the news you are reading, or life generally around you, you think that, this is the real thing, but it may be skewed, because it's about engagement, it's about, come on, it's about selling, monetizing your attention, and so on.
It's one side
That's
of it,
my.
of course, but on the other hand, it all comes down to you and how self-aware you are. It's like saying that all technology is bad. No, it's the humans that
No,
make
no,
it, you know,
sure.
it's up to you how you use it. The same with,
Yeah.
yes, this entertainment, whatever, but you do have a choice,
The key
no?
word, in all of that discussion, the key word is moderation, and this is what
And
the
awareness
system and awareness, yeah, which I guess precedes
precedes
moderation, right?
moderation, yes.
But the thing is that the times we live in, they kind of don't see any point in moderation. I mean, why should you moderate your
Yeah, I
consumption?
remember I had a
I mean.
student, she was right out of this, she recently did her MBA and she was really like, and we were talking about something businessy. And
Mhm,
she said something, like as a matter of fact that you always have to grow. And I was like, let's take me, why do I have to grow? She said, if you don't grow, you're going to die. And I'm like, well, what if I'm fine with the income I have? I mean, I understand that it's not a lot,
mhm,
but what if at this moment I'm happy with it? I mean, I have good work-life balance. I understand that I could be making more, but I'm
mhm,
content basically. And she said, no, that's not going to work. And I said, well, it has been kind of working for me for quite some time. And I was surprised that there is this, that that's not how economy works.
yeah, exactly.
I didn't
It's
realize that.
Yeah, yeah, but it's a fact. If you stand in one place, you're in fact devolve.
But
Yeah, you have to keep
why
growing.
devolve? What about stability? What's wrong with good old stability?
For that, you would have to be timeless, or either do something that is timeless, that is, that doesn't fall victim of
Is
of a
teaching
trend, or
English timeless?
it is not, unfortunately.
Because
Of
sooner
course
or
not. I
later
mean,
people learn.
teaching English by humans, right? It is
Ah,
not.
okay, you mean this.
No, no. I
This.
mean, this profession is not timeless, of course, because it's subject to huge disruption, right? It's happening on our eyes.
By AI, you mean?
Yeah, yeah, by AI, of course.
Yeah,
There's a
but then
great Masha.
it's
I'm
true
going.
about all kind of businesses, all kinds of
Yes.
businesses.
Yeah, there is no safe space, even the funeral business,
Okay, but when we
I
were
mean,
discussing this, there was no AI. So imagine there is no AI, however difficult that is. Is it something timeless?
um, in what sense? You mean you doing the profession? There might always be,
Well,
some
not
kind of
doing the profession, but
disruption.
making a living.
You making a living. No, it's not timeless, of course not, because there will be
Because I
other teachers
die
maybe
one
better
day?
than you. No, no, but there may be other teachers who will be better than you, and who will get, a bigger share of the market, or who will basically outmaneuver you in some way, or they will come up with some kind of a tool that's great for learning, or a methodology or whatever. So you have to innovate to stay afloat,
Do you
I guess.
innovate?
Yeah, kind of, for sure. I mean, you think about my evolution of my approach, or my
No.
my
Do you grow
my
as a
workshop.
business?
No, not in that sense. Yeah, I guess it's kind of, yeah, it's a good
No,
question.
when they mean they mean
If you're a one
they
person,
mean
it's not
having more
easy.
clients. Well, in our case, it means having more students, but that's
Not really, Masha,
growth.
because there's a limit. I mean, how many hours a day can you work? I
Then, but
mean,
what is growth if you talk about economy?
in that case, in our case, it would be higher margins, getting higher margins and charging more. And that is the economic progress, right? Because I understand that economic progress means earning more. How do you make more money?
Yeah, yeah, that's
Yeah, yeah.
that was
Ultimately,
my
you could
impression.
become some kind of a YouTube celebrity, and have some contracts with various, I know, companies, and become some sort of an influencer, right?
So you're saying that if I keep doing what I'm doing and teaching the same number of people, well, they may change, but let's say the same number of classes per week, I will
Hmm.
soon, what my business will, I don't know, what is the word even for it? What's going to happen?
Um, you will. I. Well, it's a good question, because it depends on what sort of time horizon we're talking about. But I think that teaching a handful of students, which an individual teacher is able to do, right?
Hmm.
Um, yeah, it might be a temporary activity, I guess.
Well,
I mean,
everything is temporary. I mean, how long I
never
will be able
temporary.
to blah,
Yeah,
blah, blah, blah. Well, okay, I don't know, 20 years. And then I will be
yeah. I mean, unless, I mean,
something like that. That's it.
if you
That's
worked in
it.
a public school, you could live your whole life, I guess, in one public school and teach, I know, some, few generations of students.
Okay, 65
And
and you retire.
yeah,
Is it?
and then you retire, right? I mean, yeah, in the private sector, it's less stable, right? Because you have to fight for your customers. Of course, sometimes the job is easier because it's the word of mouth and so on. But sometimes you just have to go out there and present,
And this is
or
growth. This is growth my student was talking about.
this is not necessarily growth, because if we keep, if you would grow if you would actually start employing people, other teachers, let's say, and you would kind of, grow into a school, into an institution, or a company providing courses to hundreds, not tens of people, right? And maybe thousands.
Yeah, but this whole idea of growth, it's actually, that's what it explains why people want more and more and more, more followers, you produce more content every day, why your journalists are, working 24/7.
For them, yeah, for them the growth is audience, of course, and that audience translates quite literally to income, right? Because the more views their videos have, the bigger share of the profits
Yeah, but here you
coming from
here
the
it is.
commercials.
This is how you can change the world. Just ditch this idea of growth and welcome stability.
There is that concept of degrowth, right now circulating in Europe, especially in certain circles. Degrowth. It is more or less about that. Let's not worry, let's stop growing, basically. Let's stop growing about that GDP, because
It's
we are quite
there is a
obsessed.
concept for this. It's not even degrowth. Well, maybe there is one like this, but some kind of economy, blah 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 economy. There is even a woman. She kind of introduced this. I have it in my notes somewhere if I find it. Some kind of economy.
What
Donut economics.
donut economics? What is that?
Yes. Um,
Rings a bell, but not sure.
Yeah, there's this woman, Kate Raworth. Well, she presents it like a donut. Okay, well, you have to check it out for yourself.
All
But
right,
it's
donut
basically
farm.
you
Let me check it out.
stop, yeah, you stop, you get rid of this idea of constant growth and you focus on sustainable, let's say, way of living. In this way, you
Hmm.
care about um,
Why is it called donut?
why
I mean,
donut? Because it looks like a donut, and the things that are limiting you, you're inside this ring, let's say, and the
hmm.
outside ring is this threshold is what was it? Ecology, let's say, that you
Hmm.
must not damage or somehow go above. And inside ring is, I think, people and their,
Hmm. Hmm.
well-being. So you balance between these two. You stay within these
I'm
limits.
a tragic person. I realize how tragic is my lot, because on the one hand, I really dislike the current system that is, this kind of crazy monetization, growing the pressure and so on. On the other side, I hate communism, and I hate, this idea of, sharing,
Being
and
Polish, yeah.
yeah, of being Polish. It's part of my DNA,
Yeah.
but also, I hate this idea of um you know working hard just to, let those who are lazy have a good life,
How
because
was it in Atlas Shrugged? What this main idea of communism? You ask people give what they can and receive what they need. Something like каждому по. I don't remember this.
I read Atlas Shrugged, but that was years ago, and I can't even remember, the
But this is not even exclusively. I mean, it doesn't come from the book. It's this motto uh,
uh,
от каждого по возможностям. Basically, you invest uh, what you can, and you will
mhm.
receive what you need.
What you need. Yeah, yeah, of course. That is the slogan of
Yes,
communism, I guess.
yeah,
It's
the
kind of the,
slogan,
the,
yeah,
the principle, the way it works.
yeah, 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 yeah.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
she just the
And
whole
since
book
and
she,
since very
she
often your and
insinuates.
since your needs are very often
Yeah,
greater than your possibilities, your capabilities even, then obviously the system
I
collapses,
don't know.
right? Because the
I'm
needs
not. I'm not.
are
I
insatiable.
can't say that I hate communism. I'm a little bit idealistic here. I just think that this kind of system, communism, socialist, it's designed for people who are morally, I don't know, level Buddha.
Hmm.
This
Yeah,
system
yeah, yeah,
will
exactly.
work
Yeah,
then,
yeah, yeah, exactly.
but
And
we're not just not ready for it.
of course, and capitalism, I think, is better at reading our nature, right? It's better at kind of interpreting who we really are, because it's not naive in the sense like communism is. Like, okay, you don't have to put so much effort because we will share everything and so on. Then obviously it creates a lot of free riders, who do nothing, freeloaders, but capitalism is not. Capitalism is actually exploiting this kind of feature of our soul, that our needs are insatiable, and yeah, and the end of it, I don't know if the end of it, but the late stage of it is what we are seeing now, that basically it monetizes even private life, or private time, or there is no time like that is beyond the reach of capitalism, right? Then it monetizes your attention at the end. Your attention is something that I can sell, and you focus, whether it's free time or work, you focus, right? It can be sold. And that's why, the system, this is kind of the late stage, I think, of capitalism that is also quite, you know.
Yeah, I've listened to this Harari talk you mentioned, and I
Hmm.
even made a note because it's important for my
Hmm.
whatever infamous book. Uh,
Uh,
he said we need empathy and love, but not as a commodity. And right now
yeah,
it is commodified, of course.
yeah, yeah, it is commodified. And for some reason, when you commodify, I mean, there are things, everything is theoretically possible to commodify, but if you commodify certain things, they lose their magic. Um,
Yeah, it makes no sense.
yeah,
And
it
they
makes no
argue that we
sense.
should ban businesses that
Like friendship,
commodify
right?
on intimacy. Yeah,
Yeah,
we should simply ban them.
yeah,
And I
yeah,
agree.
exactly. But this again, I don't want to sound like Mélenchon or any other far left freak, but this system that we live in right now, it goes so deep, it will commodify even your most intimate emotion, you know?
But yeah, I agree with this. But you are happy to provide this. You
No,
are a
you are
part
happy
of it.
because you are
You
making
are a
money
part of it. No, no, no. But you as a consumer, you
as a
are part of the
consumer.
system. You willingly agreed to be part of the system. Like we wouldn't even have to ban, like they
I
say,
don't think you have a
ban
choice.
businesses that
I don't have
modified.
you have a choice. I mean, you may not rent the next room in your flat, the one that is unoccupied. You may not do it. Of course, you may resist it, sure, but I don't think. But it is you, of course, who's setting these boundaries. I don't know if you can really quit that system. I mean, you can go and live in some
Okay,
kind of
maybe
kibbutz,
not
or
quit, but for example, yesterday I was about even to send it to you, but then I decided to, there was there was a fast sex doll with
mhm.
powered by AI. They introduced it.
Oh, why didn't you
Oh,
send
okay.
that to me?
So le- it's much easier to go and get yourself this doll than go
Mhm.
out there and get a real girlfriend, build
Of
real relationship.
course,
So
of
that's what
course.
I'm talking about. We wouldn't even have to ban businesses that modify on intimacy if all people were like Buddhas, you know? Nobody would even be interested in this.
Yeah, yeah, and
That's what I
your
mean by saying that we are a part of it. We do it willingly. It feeds our very low
I would say
urges and desires.
I would rather say we are victims of it, and
No,
we are not.
I don't agree with this. Well, I mean, of course,
But
not
but would
not
you?
like
But would
blank
you?
disagreement. I'm not talking about, let's say, I don't know, children who are born into very, very poor families. Of course, they have very little choice of, choosing their future. But when it
Mhm.
comes to buying different products, you do have a choice
You do have a
where you
choice,
put your
but
money. Yeah.
yeah, but at times, you're tired because modern work is tiring.
Okay. Modern work is tiring.
You're
You can
exhausted,
find
and
another
instead
work.
of yeah, but look at this, you're exhausted because the modern work that is of course specialistic, you don't even see the purpose of why you're working, why you're filling out these Excel files, why you're doing this or that. So it exhausts you. This is what
Mhm.
oh my goodness, this Korean guy, German Korean guy, was talking about. And I'm gonna fetch his name from my memory, I guess. But this is so at the end of the day, everyone's exhausted. Everyone is exhausted today, and now you have a choice. Okay, I go out and find myself a girlfriend, or I start an app and I start sliding, left and right, uh, swiping. Sorry, and I sort of find myself, a girlfriend for the night. I mean, It's
So
sort of,
you're saying that you don't have a say in what kind of work you do. You do meaningless work every day, which exhausts you,
Mhm. Mhm.
and then you make a decision to exhaust yourself even. Well, not exhaust, but you delay. You feel pain. You just
You don't have the
try not.
willpower. You don't have the
Yeah, but
willpower. You
why
don't
don't
have
you just
the
sit and think
strength.
why you don't have the willpower? Why you are doing this meaningless, shitty job and not find, I mean, not do something else in life? You think you don't have a
It's
say
a
in
good
this?
question. It's only the strongest, who can do it, I think. Because
Well,
there are so many
then
temptations, or there's so many temptations, and everything's easy. It's at your fingertips. It's either a click, one click, and it's very hard to resist that. It's very hard to.
I'm not saying it's easy to resist that, but I'm saying that every time you're not resisting it, you are making a choice. And when you're making a choice, you're not a
Mhm.
victim.
You're right. So that is optimistic in the sense that we ultimately have
Can
the
change the
power to
world.
change the world. Yes,
Jesus, it was something I
because we
came
are not.
up with, just a second before
Yeah,
I
ultimately,
went on.
ultimately, it comes down to us. Ultimately, it's us. Um, Sorry, Masha, there is an internet issue. No, it's fine.
No.
All right, right. Sorry. But ultimately, it comes down to us. Except the setting, the environment we are in, it's totally hostile to this sort of behavior. Because it will disarm you very nicely. You don't even know when you're disarmed, and then you wake up, and it's not. There was this guy, um, Borgman, who was writing about technology and the threat
Mm,
of technology and so
mhm.
on, and he said that um, to counter the effect of technology doesn't mean to go back to caves and just get rid of all your electronic equipment, but it basically means to cultivate what he said, um, to cultivate certain habits, and oh god damn it, he framed it beautifully, but basically it is this resistance, right, which is of course a personal choice, which is difficult. But he said that to counter technology, you need to engage. He said it's engagement is the remedy for
Engage in what?
disengagement. That is,
In your
well,
own
engage
life,
in,
probably. Real
yeah,
life.
in baking bread, going out for a walk in a bad weather, and engaging in the sense that something that requires effort, because
Yeah,
modern world is.
once you've done all the difficult stuff, once you have a healthy
Mhm.
family, good relationship, I mean, your kids are fine, you have a home, you have a healthy meal, go ahead and, scroll your feed. Yeah, fine. But when you're
Yeah.
doing this just to avoid the pain, delay feeling this pain
Mhm.
when have to face your reality and you are a miserable motherfucker sitting at home living with your parents.
I'm gonna have to take that it contains bad words. I'm gonna have
Okay.
to take that when I upload the file.
Okay. Then, and you call yourself a victim.
Masha,
I don't know.
what would you say about a drug addict?
Oh
I
my
mean,
God, don't ask me about drug addicts. I have a
no, no,
very bad history with,
but
I don't know. I'm biased. I'm biased.
no, okay,
I
okay,
don't know.
but what you say, if you are choosing on your own that, okay, I
Hmm.
don't go out and walk, I just open a can of beer, okay, and it's easier, and I can relax either walking or I can relax sipping a can of beer.
Hmm.
The same choice is between a drug addict, right? Okay, I can enjoy the beauty of this world, or I can just get high and
I believe that the question is not about, what you choose to do. It's why you choose to do, why you're addicted. There's always a story behind it,
because
and
it's
you just
easy.
need to,
It's easy,
yeah,
yeah.
but you're running away always from something. You have some kind
Yeah.
of a pain you don't want to feel, and you choose this. It's
Mhm.
not like you think, oh, your life is great, but what should I do?
Yeah, yeah,
You
yeah,
know, hit heroin hit, or I don't know, cook whatever,
yeah, yeah,
roast
yeah.
beef. So you need to sit and understand what is it you're running from
Yeah, yeah, and that
and
takes,
to
some sort
face
of
it.
awareness. It takes, I don't know what, because you need to be honest
Because
and,
after all, heroin addiction and Facebook addiction, they are not so fundamentally different.
no, they're not.
No, any addiction is an
They work pretty
addiction.
much the same, I think,
It's an
when it comes
escape
to the
from
brain
something.
chemistry.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's
yeah,
an escape from something.
yeah. But
But
the
it
point is
doesn't
that
make you a
sometimes you don't know.
victim. It doesn't make you a victim. I still don't think they're victims.
So you don't think the huge, corporation behind Facebook, it's in, and that is trapping children, or Instagram and so on, into some sort of mode, or and some sort of worldviews and so on. So you don't think these kids are victims? They just
Well,
started
why
using
are
the
you
app
now
and they were being
introducing kids?
shown stuff. Well, because kids are kind of naive and pure, right?
Yeah,
If you're an
they are
adult
not, their brain is not
and
formed
kids
yet.
use
They don't have
Instagram,
even
don't they?
mechanisms and they don't have awareness. I'm only talking about adult people. Well, some
Okay,
adult
but
people are still children. That's also a problem. Okay,
yeah,
this is going to
come.
be a very
You
Mm.
started that. We didn't even ask the
You
question. What's the difference?
okay.
So,
I
but
started that.
but no, no. But I'm really
I
glad.
thought you would
I'm
just
very.
dismiss it in a minute and we will go to round one.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
we
Me
never did.
dismissing, changing the world. Come on. I mean, you should know better. That it's going to start the Third World War, or what. But I'm really glad. Because that conversation is kind of
Catharsis.
cathartic,
Thick, yeah.
whatever. Yeah,
Or
all right.
thick.
But I feel better because a lot of stuff that was kind of brewing in my head got out. So I vented
Maybe you
off
wanted some
thanks to that.
sympathy, but I can't offer it to you. I don't
No,
think that any
no,
addicts are victims.
um I didn't want sympathy really, and like I said before, I don't even claim to be right here, but I think that we are not entirely 100% responsible for what's happening. If you are if you are a bird born in a cage, are you responsible for that caging? I mean, no, because you were born in that cage. You were born in this
But
environment.
sooner or later, you are able to see that that there is a world
Yeah.
outside your cage. And
Yes.
now you have a choice.
If you have
Squeeze
the key.
through these. Well, there are many ways.
What if you
But
got
even
trapped?
awareness, even simple awareness,
Yes.
it's already
That is why
huge.
this podcast is making our listeners maybe
Mm.
aware and what kind of shit we got ourselves in.
Yes, Mr. Lennon.
This episode is full of bad words, but um yeah, that is great. That is what it is, awareness. And if we go just one step further, it's comes down to education, good education, education that is not patronizing or preaching or you know indoctrination, but just putting something for in front of people and letting them decide, right? And yeah, that's what it is.
Making them decide,
Well, making them decide, yeah, yeah, or
not
at
just
least
letting them, but when you present this choice to people and people
yeah,
have
but you
to
make a
make
choice when you're ready, right? When you make a choice when you're
yeah.
ready, you decide when you're ready. It's not like
Yeah, the bird
sometimes
needs
you're
to
simply,
understand that it's in the
yeah,
cage.
yeah, understanding. It's the key thing. It's the essence of education. And not getting a job at the Goldman.
Oh my God.
All right, Masha. I don't know what time is it, because it
It's time
flies
to
really
wrap
quickly.
up.
I think it's over to you with our final phrase. Thanks to all the listeners. I really feel fired up. I don't know about you. You can leave a comment if you are fired up too.
Yeah, if you think that
And
drug addicts are victims and want to, yeah.
yeah, drug addicts we as are we victims of the system or not? But yeah,
And what the
it's
system even is. Okay.
we are waiting for your comments, you know. We are waiting for your comments so that the algorithm makes us more popular, we get more money, and we turn this podcast into an empire. All right.
Yeah.
Right.
So this was another episode of the Thinking Out Loud podcast. Thank you, everybody. Stay tuned for the next one. Bye bye.
Bye bye.